An average episode of Adventure Time has a human white boy, which here is a minority. A yellow dog with stretchy powers, and it is set on a post-apocalyptic future where all kinds of strange beings inhabit the land of Wu, which makes everything more insane. So finding the most normal episode of this amazing show is a challenge that we must overcome to complete the perfect cartoon trifecta. Can a show that focuses on the adventures of this complex and interesting world give us an episode where the events can happen to you or me? Well, let's check every season to see what is there for us, starting with Season 1. It is worth clarifying that we are not going to accept episodes where they let their imagination really go wild. You know, just like the good old days before P-Hub.
I was just playing around with my imagination, and everything got intense.
And same as the other videos, we don't count episodes where the plot is kind of a memory. So for this first season, the most likely episodes would be these 3. Let's start with Prisoners of Love. It starts off with Finn and Jake sledding through the Ice Kingdom in an office chair. When it breaks, they decide to ride on each other's belly, which honestly looks more fun than when I played in my uncle's belly. The Ice King is not chill, since he's mad about them trespassing his domain. So he sends some weird monsters that are easily defeated.
You guys are gonna get it.
Yeah, right, sure.
They are captured and imprisoned with many princesses, kinda like Jeffrey Epstein's island. So that's actually common. They gaslight Ice King into thinking he's really cool and fun. So he gets inside the cell just to get punched in the face so hard that we see him dreaming.
Why do people not like me?
And we realize he's just a poor soul wandering around, as we will see later. Yeah, there's some wacky stuff, but it's somewhat normal compared with this first season. Which, by the way, it seems like Cartoon Network shows. Most of the first seasons go crazy, go stupid, and then they develop the story. It's like here, kids get hooked on the show, and then boom, they hit you with the lore. Next episode would be... The episode starts with Jake telling Finn a horror story about vampires. Later something starts messing with them. And I gotta say, I found really funny how they got scared. We are introduced for the first time to Marceline, who nobody asked, but she was my childhood crush. Except when she cut her hair. That was a turn off. She keeps them out, which is not very nice, and that would explain my constant love for bad bitches. Finn and Jake set out to find a new home anywhere he knew, but as much as they tried, they couldn't stay in any of those places. But when they were feeling defeated, they came across with this cave that isn't that lavish looking, but they fixed it up a little. Until this toxic cutie shows up again, saying that this is her property. A battle begins, she grows into a giant bat. I still hit though. Marceline, after almost killing Jake, says she likes him because they're hardcore, whatever that means. She even gives Finn a kiss on the cheek and a slap on the ass. You lucky bastard! Okay, yeah, this one was strange, but the last scene? Now that's pure insanity.
Hug me. Oh yeah, hug me.
The next one is definitely less weird, and I'll say the most normal of this first season. The episode begins with Finn and Jake throwing some weird magical spells. Wow, this show is very strange. With one of those bottles, Finn pulls a mad clean 180 throw that hits the princess, turning her into a goblin. There's a misunderstood because she thinks it's the Duke's fault, as she kicked him out a few frames ago. They go to capture the Duke of Nuts, who turns out to be a father and a really good citizen, which makes them wonder why does she hate him so much. Well, he's a pudding addict who always empties the entire supply.
Pudding. She said pull and then ding.
Other than a few little things, nothing too strange happens. For the second season, we do have some solid options. I was thinking about the episode Susan Strong, where they discover a new civilization of humans. Finn is very happy since he's the only human he has seen, so he takes Susan to show her how the outside world is and the things that she and probably you have never seen, like some basic cleaning or grass, for example.
Grass can't hurt you. See?
They show her the world little by little. She gets obsessed with candy. So Finn has a big brain idea to take her to the Candy Kingdom, because what could go wrong? Now they want to eat everyone. At the end it was just like hot women in my area, who really are just Indian men. They were not humans, but just mutant fish. Except for Susan, who in this episode left us with doubt. But to briefly talk about her, she was a human refugee after the fall of the Mushroom War. Hey, drop a like if you want me to go deeper into the lore of this show. The very next episode is the Mystery Train. While Finn and Jake are taking a train trip, some murders are happening inside. So it's time for Finn to resolve this Scooby-Doo mystery.
Look, gang, a door.
I wonder where it leads.
We'll never know.
We can notice how Finn frankly makes a terrible job at being a detective, and also how he's so desensitized about someone literally being reduced to bones 5 inches in front of him.
Son of a...
But hey, at the end we discovered Jake set this thing up as a birthday gift for Finn. Pretty normal episode, but let's see if the next one is even more solid. The episode Video Makers is about them making their own movie after doing what nobody ever does. And that's reading the FBI warning for arrest of copywriting. They start getting footage of the inhabitants of Who, and it's surprisingly normal stuff. The thing is that Jake wants a romantic comedy, which honestly I don't like, and Finn wants an action adventure, which I also dislike. We all know that the only good movies are the ones with bad acting and a smash ending, I mean the film noir. Yeah, that one. Their creative differences make them bitter because they don't agree. At the end, Bimo replaces the entire movie with his own animation, and it's about the good times that Finn and Jake shared during the film's production. As you see, a fairly normal episode. One episode that I was thinking is titled Thank You. This episode is very, I don't know how to describe it. It's like so cozy and wholesome to watch. We follow Snow Golden throughout his day. He suddenly finds a baby firewolf who follows him home, so he decides to take care of the baby. But he has to get the wolf back to where he belongs, which seems like a difficult task since snow doesn't fit too well in hot environments. A great episode that gives life to the land of Woo. And it's heartwarming to see how the relationship between Finn, Jake and the Ice King grows. Which, talking of that, the next episodes are Holy Jolly Secrets Part 1 and 2. Oh boy, in this episode we see the downward spiral of insanity that the Ice King, or Simon, went through. I remember back then when the show was airing, we used to talk with my cousins and friends all sorts of theories of this show, and we all were so excited about this episode that we literally gathered in someone's house to watch this episode. And when this part came out...
Hello, my name is Simon Petrikov.
You could literally hear all of us screaming so excited. The episode is about Finn and Jade watching the secret tapes of the Ice King and how he recorded himself crying, doing weird stuff, and his backstory. But the only thing that worries Ice King is that they found out he used to wear glasses, as they might think he's not really cool. Okay, yeah. You can say this one doesn't count since they're just watching tapes. Plus, nobody asked. And for that I would say, alright, don't get too violent. And I got for you the episode Marceline's Closet, where the whole plot is Finn and Jake trying to get out of Marceline's house since they were trapped in the closet. Yeah, it's just a silly and hilarious situation, but why would I do it in real life is a felony. Nothing really that strange happens. Somewhat disturbing, yeah. Even Finn, when trying to sneak out, he tactically entered the bathroom and saw her from below. You lucky bastard! We move on to season 4, where our first option is Stream of Love. Pig declares his love to Tetrons, so their hormones take control over them to borderline committing public indecency, and they even try to make it to the industry to compete in the interracial dwarf category. But Finn and Jake separated before they break the internet. The next episode is Card Wars. This episode only takes place in the treehouse, where they play with this hologram cards game that for me personally, I always wanted to play with. But my mom said that it doesn't exist. Truly child abuse. Okay, I get it, that game is not very realistic, but you could say that table is our equivalent of a PlayStation, which I also didn't have, because if so we couldn't eat or something like that. But outside of my horrible and tragic story, I talked about the mobile game from this episode in this video, by the way. An even more solid option would be I Remember You, where Ice King gets to the incredible conclusion that music will get him some house. So he goes to Marceline's place to jam, and he takes some of his old notes since ladies love traumatic pasts.
Ladies are drawn to bros with tortured pasts. And I got a way tortured past, I think.
And we get more knowledge about our disturbed friend who only wants to be loved.
I'm so alone. Won't somebody tell me what's wrong with me?
We found out the connection between these two when Marceline tries to remind him the past, and where nothing strange happens. Now we go through season 5, and here we actually have quite a few options. The Princess Potluck is very normal to a certain extent. Here Princess Bubblegum throws a party and the Ice King tries to sabotage it. Since he wasn't in the WhatsApp group or whatever, there's a few magic spells, but for a show that has characters like Prismo and those lemons, quite normal for those standards. But a more normal episode would be the one titled Shh, where Finn and Jake hit a bout of silence for a game, but Bimo thinks they were replaced and gets scared. So they try to get him out of the walls while there's a bunch of bikini babes waiting outside. It's very normal until the end, where the party god crashes the house.
Party, 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 ow!
But I don't get invited to that many parties, so I wouldn't know if that usually happens. Jake the Dad is another episode I considered. We're introduced to Lady and Jake's children. We see how Jake is following his mother's overprotective device, but thankfully these magic kids by the end of the episode are basically older than Jake, and they save him from these wolves before they take his lunch money. With some weird anime transformation though. Jake's obsession is quite normal, but I don't know how to defend this honestly. However, the last one we are going to see from this season is actually really normal. Root Beer Guy. And it starts with Finn and Jake fighting a giant baby. No, but the episode focuses on the Root Beer Guy with someone with a soulless and unfulfilling 9 to 5, and every day seems to be the same for him, living in autopilot. He's basically the modern man. The only thing that excites him is all these detective novels, as well as writing. But, as it is said by his wife, he hasn't finished a single book in 10 years. I think that's a harsh comment, and definitely needs some correction. Until one day, he sees Finn and Jake kidnapping Princess Bubblegum, so he starts following the clues all by himself. Since banana guards have negative IQ, our hero manages to get them, and it turns out the princess was just testing the banana guards. And what's really good is that he becomes the captain of the banana guard. I like this episode very much, and as you see, there's no many weird things going on, except at the beginning. And just a side note, rest in peace, Root Beer Guy. Yep. He died as a hero some episodes later.
But he sacrificed himself to do it.
He did
It's
what?
an ugly scene, man.
But don't worry, he's resurrected later on. We then continue with season 6, and I got 2 candidates, which would be Ocarina and Jake the Brick. In the Ocarina episode, one of Jake's son, the one with BTS type name, buys the treehouse and had the audacity to divide it in 37 apartments. In addition to expropriating all his belongings, Kim Kil-won is very bold. Since I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, the slightest sign of disrespect towards my parents, with a single slap they would have left me without tears. Jake offers him the love of a father and also an ocarina, but at the end it turns out he just wanted Jake to be more responsible. On the other hand, Jake the Brick is about Jake being a brick, where he's kinda doing a dopamine detox to really be present in the moment, enjoying the beauty of life and noticing the simple things in life. Or maybe the menopause has already arrived. I don't know. He's telling the adventures of a rabbit, which I agree is way more interesting than 99% of podcasts today. Since bro goes pretty viral in the land of Wu, very chill episode, there are no fights, no magic spells or that kind of stuff. So for the 7th season we have a pretty clear option, called Summer Showers, where Viola, Jake's daughter, is in a play directed by Lumpy Space Princess. She didn't got the role, but rather she became her assistant, and to surprise of absolutely no one, she's a complete jerk. The only thing she's lacking to be an average theater teacher is grabbing everyone's ass. At the end she ends up being the main of the play, because Mr. Pig was not vibing with Tritrons having to do a kiss scene. And Viola also sends LSP to Ice King's place, which honestly I would have done the same. Other than that, this is a really grounded in reality episode. As you can imagine, the later seasons make this more difficult. For season 8, I got the episode Wheels, where we see Jake and Kim Kil-won together in a race, which is really good to see they're in good terms. Since the episode we saw, he asks Jake for parenting advice with his teenage daughter. So Jake, being this granddad figure, he figures out how to get her grades up in school and teaches her a valuable lesson. Just kidding, he gets triggered to be called a cool guy and starts competing for the hip young crowd attention.
You're really gonna ban your own granddaughter from her own skate park?
Man, I hope so.
The final skate battle is a little bit weird, but I really love the scenarios in this one. We've had really good options this far, but for season 9 there's no really a normal episode and no one seems to fit. And for the last season of Adventure Time, the only candidate I have is Ring of Fire. where Tritron sneaks out to see someone from her past, and we see how she was married many times. As you see, this episode is just memories of the past, and we see how Tritron, she was a little extrovert. She was passed around like a blunt. But yeah, we don't really count this episode since it's just memories. Alright, here we have all the options discussed previously. A total of 20 episodes, which is honestly surprising due to the insane context of this show. But if we want the most normal episode, we must start rolling out episodes that didn't make much sense. So we discard all the episodes that have some sort of weird magic spells piece, no matter how little it is, to find out a winner. Alright, so Prisoners of Love, The Duke, Summer Shower, Jake the Dog, Ocarina, Princess Putlock, and Wheels Go Away, as well as the episode's Holy Jolly Secrets, in addition to Thank You, since honestly I haven't seen these creatures on Animal Planet, so they must be extinct due to global warming or something like that. Some really strange thing that I pointed out early were the disturbing worm scene on the party god. Also, nobody's finding new civilizations, not that I'm aware of, so goodbye. Hiding in someone's closet is not entirely uncommon, shockingly, but it is a creepy situation. And if we're talking of situations, nobody goes Sherlock Holmes mode after a crime scene. People tend to not do that, since you probably get shot by the mafia because it's not your business. So that leaves us with 5 solid options. Video makers could literally be your school project with your best buddy and a clash of different creative ideas. For Drain of Love, there's horned dogs everywhere. In fact, entire careers have been made up from this lack of shame. Jake the Brick is Jake going monk mode. Car Wars is just a 1x1 game with a salty noob who thinks he's the best. And I Remember You, it's just them vibing and jamming at Marceline's place with the goal of mine of getting the hose. As you can see, all of these are actually really normal. So I have doubts to which one could be the most normal. If I really have to select, I would be between Video Makers and I Remember You, but I'll go more towards this one though, because it is an episode that I really liked. But of these 5, which one will you choose? I really have fun making this video, so if you enjoy it, please drop a like and subscribe.